you seen any evidence that President Biden has committed high crimes and misdemeanors?
No, I don't see any evidence of that at all. I think before you begin an impeachment inquiry, you ought to have some evidence, some inclination that there's been wrongdoing. And so far, there's nothing of that nature that's been provided.
So are you opposed to the impeachment inquiry?
Well, if I were in the House, I'd vote against it unless they were able to bring forward evidence that suggests that there were a high crime or misdemeanor that had been committed. But so far, that hasn't been the case.
That was Republican Senator Mitt Romney of Utah saying if he were in the House, he'd vote against the push for an official impeachment inquiry into President Biden. House Speaker Mike Johnson announced last week the House will hold a vote later this week on an impeachment inquiry. Joining us now, Congresswoman Susan DelBene of Washington State. She serves on the House Ways and Means Committee and is chair of the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee. And John Heilman has the first question. John?
Congresswoman, since we're talking about impeachment, let's just start with that. Lemire and I were on this show on Friday discussing this matter, and I thought to myself, you know, every member of the Democratic member of the House is going to say this is terrible, and the White House is going to say this is terrible, and secretly they're all going to be saying this is the best thing that's going to happen to Joe Biden and Democrats, and just going to compound the Republicans' woes politically, because it just looks like they are just plays further into the narrative of an out-of-control, radical extremist House, not doing the people's business, dysfunction, all the stuff and chaos that we've seen. Is that not the case as you look around the country and just think, I wish we didn't have to go through this impeachment thing, but it's going to be to our benefit politically going forward?
Well, it is terrible, and it's terrible because it's distracting from us doing actual work that needs to be done, and we have critical work that needs to be done. Here we're coming the last week of this Congress, at least looks like the last week of this Congress, and we haven't done any of the important work that needs to be done. And the dysfunction and chaos and extremism we've seen from House Republicans has been true since day one of this Congress.
Right.
So data, facts, evidence, that doesn't matter to them. They don't know how to do anything else right now. So this is what they're continuing to focus on. So it's terrible for the American people.
Right.
And frankly, the American people see that, and that's going to impact them at the ballot box next year.
Right. I mean, whether they were pursuing impeachment or not, it's not like they would be productive partners in legislating or doing the people's business, at least on the basis of what we've seen so far. So again, I ask, you know, is it not the case that what you guys are going to end up, your candidates, I know you're in the process, you have primaries in a bunch of these different districts, but you also have a lot of incumbents. Is it not going to be the case that the very effective way to run against Republicans, and as we head into 2024, is going to be on this very issue? That this is going to be the big message for Democrats. It's going to be this Republican House is that we saw what happened, and it's time to end the nightmare, our long national nightmare. It needs to be over.
Chaos, dysfunction, extremism, absolutely. Those are things that we're running on and talking about because that's what people see every day. You know, we saw polling that showed that 7 out of 10 voters in battleground districts thinks Republicans are focused on the wrong things. They're not focused on the things that people actually care about in our districts across the country. They care about economic issues, kind of what are the day-to-day kitchen table issues at home. They care about governance working. And here we have Republicans who can't even agree with each other, let alone move important legislation, and now have already decided what they want an outcome to be and are trying to figure out how to get there on this impeachment inquiry.
Congresswoman, you have a lot of responsibility going into this election cycle as the chair of the DCCC. How many races are you closely watching? You said off camera there are around 32 races that you think could potentially be up to grabs. Can you talk about what you're seeing with this electoral landscape?
Absolutely. You know, we're 5 seats short of a majority, and when you look across the country, there are many, many seats where Republicans hold seats that we think we have an opportunity to pick up. There's 18 seats that President Biden won in 2020 that Republicans are in right now, actually a lot in New York and California. One of those is New York 3, the former George Santos seat. We think we have huge opportunities there, mainly because we don't have moderate Republicans anymore. A lot of these Republicans ran as moderates, and they've been incredibly extreme. They all voted for Speaker Johnson, probably our most extreme speaker that we've ever had. So there are no moderates left on the Republican side. And then we have races that were very, very close. And those are also opportunities for us where we have incredible candidates, sometimes people running again, and where we think we have great opportunities to pick up. And through redistricting, there's a new seat in Alabama. That's a big opportunity, too. So across the board, we need 5 more to take back the majority. But you know, we're going to be playing in races across the country because we have incredible candidates all across the country who want to protect our rights, our freedoms, and our democracy, and are running strong.
So, Congressman, let's talk about what is going to be going on in Capitol Hill this next week or so. This is this funding bill, supplemental, potentially Ukraine, Israel, the border, and such. We know President Zelensky from Ukraine is going to be making the case in person tomorrow. What are the chances you think it will pass? But also, in terms of the politics of it, like which of these issues, Ukraine, Israel, border, are you find resonating with voters?
Well, first of all, if a bill's going to move, it's going to have to move through the Senate first. The House is too dysfunctional to move something first, so the Senate's going to have to come up with a package and send it over to the House. But voters want to see us work through these issues, and they want to see us solve issues and move legislation. So the inaction actually is what we hear from voters. Why can't you guys figure out how to move forward? And we continue to try to work across the aisle to try to find solutions to try to remove legislation. But over and over and over again, House Republicans have refused to even bring important bipartisan legislation forward. And you see that they can't even agree with each other's spending bills. They can't even move their own spending bills. So that's why it's such a challenging time and a dangerous time. We have Republicans in charge of the House who aren't interested in governing, who are only interested in arguing with each other and kind of fighting each other to see who can be more extreme. But there's not an interest in governance, and that's what the American people want to see.
Chair of the DCCC, Congresswoman Susan DelBene, thank you so much for being on this morning.